Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Ben's Basement. Today, I am finally here with my Oscar picks. Oscar Sunday is in just 2 days, so it's only right that I come here. Finally, I watched The Complete Unknown last night, and I got down almost all of the Oscar movies. And if you're mad that I didn't see all of them, I'm just channeling my best Academy Award voter because ridiculousness is coming out and Academy Award voters are saying they didn't want to watch Dune because they didn't need another 3 hours. They didn't watch this. I only watched half the films. So the Academy is not doing their job, to say the least. However, I'm here to do their job for them. So how this video will go is I will give my pick and then I will give my prediction. And the prediction is basically who I think is going to win based on who's won at the past award shows in the recent weeks, and my pick is obviously who I think deserves to win. So we will start all the way down at the bottom, and we'll go with Best Original Screenplay. I believe that Anora is going to win this category. I believe it's won at the past few award shows, and it's also in major talks for Best Picture, so it is an original screenplay. So if it wouldn't make sense for me for it to win Best Picture and not Best Original Screenplay. My pick here, it's very close to me between The Substance and A Real Pain. I think A Real Pain was written beautifully, and it was written in such a relatable and human way. And The Substance is just, I think, a masterclass of social commentary. However, The Substance doesn't really have all that much dialogue. So for that reason, I'm going to go with A Real Pain. I really enjoyed the movie. September 5th, I didn't see. The Brutalist, I don't know. I really enjoyed the first half of The Brutalist. The second half, I didn't love. The epilogue, I didn't love. There were some topics that I feel like were very serious topics that were just brushed over. So, Best Original Screenplay, in my book, it goes to A Real Pain, but Anora is going to win this one. Moving on to Best Adapted Screenplay, I think this is Dune 2's award to lose. The way Denis and the cast was able to bring to life the Dune books, I think, is masterful. The world building, I mean, I haven't seen a movie that was able to build such a realistic fake world. The VFX was beautiful. The acting was really good, and I overall think it tells a very, very cohesive story. And I think the lengths that they were able to push in terms of how they were able to make these things like the sandworms, when the sandworms are about to come up out of the ground. Yeah, I just think that the way Denis was able to bring the Dune world and the Dune universe to life was extremely impressive. And for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Dune 2. What I think will win is Conclave. Conclave basically just won Best Picture at the SAG Awards, and Conclave is, I think it's a lock for Best Adapted Screenplay. It's a very it's an Oscar type of Best Adapted Screenplay that the Academy would just eat up. All right, moving on to Best Hair and Makeup. No doubt in my mind, this is a no-brainer, The Substance. I think The Substance will win this too. I can see Wicked winning, but I think the practical effects and the makeup and the transformations between each version of Elizabeth were just so ridiculously impressive, knowing that they did that all practically. I don't really have much more to say about that. I mean, I find The Substance to be so impressive, and while it's not one of my favorite movies I've seen recently, I can respect the craftsmanship and the artistry that really went into making this film. For Best VFX, I also think that this one's a no-brainer. I am going to go ahead and give it to Dune Part 2. My prediction is also Dune Part 2. Like I kind of said earlier, the way that they're able to build the Dune universe, and especially on Arrakis and Gedi Prime, is so impressive to me. And on top of that, when House Harkonnen is trying to wipe out all the Fremen, and they're flying their ships and blowing up all the catacombs, and they're blowing up all the mountains, and all the explosions and all the massive kind of battle scenes that require a lot of VFX, I think are brilliantly done. For that reason, Dune 2, my prediction and my pick. So for best film editing, my pick here is a film that was not nominated. I'm surprised that it wasn't nominated for at least a few categories, but I have Challengers. I enjoyed Challengers a lot. It was one of my favorite movies of the year, and I think in particular the editing is very, very high quality, especially in the tennis scenes and the kind of ongoing tennis match between Art and Patrick throughout the movie. But when you get to that third act, the editing is just off the charts. You go to the shots of following the ball, the camera's on the ball. You go to the shots where the camera's through the floor. There's so many wild shots that really I found myself marveling at. And I think overall it's a very well edited film. However, Challengers didn't get the nomination. And for me, Conclave is my prediction. Conclave was very well edited. Conclave, I think, was able to make this thing in the conclave and in voting for a new pope very engaging. And I think part of it was the editing, kind of keeping the viewers on their toes. And I think it's a very well put together film. Conclave takes the cake for my prediction of best film editing. Now we're going over to best sound. This is a no-brainer for me. Dune 2 is my pick. Dune 2 is my prediction. The sound in this movie is phenomenal, and it makes the movie. I mean, there are so many little details in this film. Like, I know Denis talked about this, the sound of I forgot what they're called, helicopter things when they're flying. And sometimes they took real helicopters and used that sound. Sometimes they kind of took the helicopter sound and manipulated it a little bit. But all of the little things, the thumps from the sandworm, there are so many little details that I think if they weren't there, it would really take away from the movie. But the fact that they are there really makes this movie as great as it is. I do think Dune 2 will win this category as well. And I think this is really these are the only two categories that I can see Dune winning, which I think is an absolute travesty in itself. But Dune 2 for best sound. Now moving on to best original score. I have this going to Challengers as well. Challengers, the first time I saw it in theaters, I was kind of moving in my seat. The songs are really catchy. This is also one of the few movies that I actually have listened to the score in my free time, and I think it's really good. There are some very, very standout songs that are really catchy. They really make you move, and on the rewatches, it just happens to get better. And it was not nominated. So my pick is Challengers, which didn't receive the nomination. My prediction is The Brutalists. The Brutalists did have a very good score. It was more kind of traditional. It was very fitting for the era that The Brutalist does take place in. Once again, this is another score that the Academy would just eat up. It's very technically well done. I can also see Conclave maybe winning this. Conclave had a really good score as well, but I'm going to go with The Brutalist. The Academy seems to kind of be loving The Brutalist, but I don't know. We'll see. Next, we have Best Production Design, and this was very tough for me. I was flip-flopping between Nosferatu and Dune 2 very, very frequently, and I was so impressed by Nosferatu, especially production design-wise, the way they were able to recreate the town of... I forget what the town name was, but they recreated 4 or 5 blocks worth of the town, and they did shoot some scenes in an actual castle for Count Orlok's castle. So that aspect of authenticity, I think, really shows in the film because it adds to the ambiance, it adds to the environment, and it adds to the realism, which obviously adds to the experience. But I ultimately went with Dune Part 2 for the simple fact that They could have easily used the stagecraft, the LED boards that they do in The Mandalorian and that they did in Batman. But I think what really makes this film in Dune 2 stand out is the kind of authenticity. And I know I said that for Nosferatu, but the fact that they really were out there in the desert filming in, like, they got the shots at the golden hour when the sun was just setting. I believe it's in Israel, maybe Abu Dhabi, Jordan, those areas, but they were really out there filming in the desert, and they didn't take the easy way out. They really made sure that everything felt authentic, and I think that it pays off because for me, the reason I don't love these epic sci-fi movies is because they feel very big Hollywood studio green screen, but I think with Dune 2, it felt a lot more authentic, and it really, really added to my viewing experience. Another movie that was in the race for me, which I do think is going to win the Oscar, is Conclave. I think the way they were able to recreate the Vatican, I think that's what it's called, and they were able to recreate all of these historic places so accurately is very impressive. Conclave is a movie that I think the Academy is going to love. I think it's going to win a lot of awards. And yeah, Conclave, Best Production Design, book it. Next, we have Best Costume Design. I have Conclave. I think Conclave is going to win this Oscar. That's my pick and my prediction. I think the costumes are so stunning in that movie. And the cinematography is also really, really great because of the just uniformity, but it's very beautiful. It's very picturesque, and I think the costumes do a very good job of capturing that. I'm sure they're very realistic. I'm not too knowledgeable in that aspect, but I appreciate the costumes in Conclave, and I do think that is going to take the cake for Best Costume Design. Now we're getting into Best Cinematography, and for me, this was tough. We have Conclave here. So many stunning shots in Conclave. We had Dune 2, which I love Dune 2. It's one of my favorite movies I've seen. It's my favorite movie of the year. But what I ended up going with is Nosferatu, and I think Nosferatu is just a stunning, stunning movie. Robert Eggers does such an unbelievable job of creating the spooky, ominous atmosphere, especially with the cinematography. And there are many, many standout shots. But the main ones for me are when Thomas is waiting for Count Orlok's horses to kind of pull up, and he's walking down that ominously lit up road, I guess you would call it. That's a beautiful shot. When Thomas is in the horse and carriage and going to Count Orlok's castle, that's beautiful. Count Orlok reaching his fingers out over the town. This film is just filled with beautiful shots. I mean, the one with all the rats with Willem Dafoe when they set fire to the room. There's so many beautiful shots in this, and I just think that this is honestly a no-brainer for me. My prediction here is The Brutalist. The Brutalist has really nice cinematography too. They used the VistaVision cameras, which were extinct for a long while, brought the VistaVision back to really capture the wideness and the grandness of the projects of Laszlo. And I think they did it in a really, really great job. I personally lean towards that Nosferatu cinematography because it's a lot more, not to say that The Brutalist isn't carefully crafted, but Nosferatu, there's so many ornate little details that I think make the movie, in which a movie that I think was pretty much made by the cinematography. Whereas The Brutalist, yes, it does have a lot of really beautiful shots. I mean, when Harrison and Laszlo were in Italy, when they were at the marble mines, the first shot when they're kind of building the memorial building for Harrison's mom, there's a lot of really beautiful shots. So I don't think The Brutalist, I wouldn't be mad at this winning, but I do think that it's going to take home the best cinematography. Next up, we have Best Supporting Actor. And this is a category that I think is pretty much all said and done in terms of who is going to win. And I think that's going to be Kieran Culkin. He's basically won at almost every single award show he's been eligible. However, I think that his TV brother, Jeremy Strong, should win this one for how he portrayed Roy Cohn. I think Kieran played a great character, but Jeremy Strong was just able to encapsulate Roy Cohn. And despite me not knowing a single thing about him, I left the movie kind of feeling like I knew exactly who this guy was, and I was a Roy Cohn expert. I mean, his transformation throughout the movie from a very powerful lawyer and then to his eventual death when he became very weak and frail from the AIDS that he was suffering from, he just did a really, really great job. And I think Jeremy really made that movie. Yes, Sebastian Stan was great, but all of the Roy Cohn scenes, honestly, Jeremy stole them. He stole almost every scene he was in. I think he was great, and I think he deserves this Oscar. I don't think he's going to win it, but I think he deserves it. Another nod that I actually wanted to shout out, who I really liked his performance, this is Clarence Macklin from Sing Sing. He did such a great job playing Divine Eye, I believe it was. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is also his first kind of major movie placement, which is a really impressive feat in itself. Now moving on to Best Supporting Actress, my prediction is Zoe Saldana. I don't think she's lost at a single award show. I didn't see Amelia Perez though, so I'm not going to comment on that. But my pick is Margaret Qualley, and she wasn't nominated. Felicity Jones was really good in The Brutalist. I actually quite liked her. Monica Barbero was pretty good as Joan, but she didn't really get much screen time. I think Margaret Qualley was great. I think she was able to show the two sides of that Hollywood it girl, and I think she did it very well. I found myself the second time I watched The Substance being like, wow, she was really, really good. And even though it could seem like on the surface she's not playing a very deep character, she's not playing a very tough character, I think that she did a really great job. And out of these nominees, out of the movies that I've seen, she had the performance that impressed me the most. So I'm just going to go with Margaret Qualley for Best Supporting Actress. Now we're getting to the big hitters. Best Actress, Best Actor, Best Director, and Best Picture are the final four categories we have. Starting with Best Actress. This was really tough for me. I liked Mikey Madison a lot in Anora. I also really liked Demi Moore. I was blown away with her performance. One actress that I think was snubbed from this category was Lily Rose Depp. I really thought she was great in Nosferatu. I'm kind of surprised she didn't get nominated. She played a great range of emotions. She was kind of depressed throughout the entire movie. She did so many scenes, those possession scenes, those nightmare scenes, and no effects, no VFX were used, which impressed me a lot. She was great. I really loved her. However, I'm going to give it to Mikey Madison with Anora. I think that the chaotic energy, the chaotic atmosphere of Anora, she did so well, but also those heartfelt scenes, she also did really well. And especially those ones towards the end of the movie when her and Vanya are separated and she's with Igor, those scenes are very beautiful. And I think Mikey Madison just knocked it out of the park with the accent and the range. I loved her in Anora, and I think this is Mikey Madison's award. However, I think Demi Moore is going to win. Demi Moore is my prediction. She was great in The Substance, don't get me wrong. She 100% deserves this. And it seems that the Academy, and especially the way the awards have been going, She won the Golden Globe. She won the SAG. So I feel like they're at this point giving this award to her because it's a great performance and it's kind of like a legacy thing. She's been in Hollywood for so long. She hasn't won one of these major awards. Like I said, I loved her performance. I think she was great in The Substance. She was able to show such real and raw emotions. The scene where she was about to go on the date and she went and reapplied the makeup a bunch of times, that was so powerful. You can't go wrong with either one of these. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see Mikey Madison winning Best Actress on Sunday night. But I'm going to lead towards Demi Moore because she won at SAG. She won at the Golden Globes. She's won a lot of these award shows. So I'm going to go Demi. Now we get to Best Actor. And this one was really tough for me because I think there were so many great lead performances this year. I love Timothée Chalamet in Dune, too. I personally thought he should kind of win it for this. I feel like he should have definitely been nominated. But the Oscars eat up a good biopic, so of course he was nominated for A Complete Unknown. However, I think this race really comes down to Coleman Domingo, and I think it comes down to Adrian Brody. I like Timothy a lot. Timothy's my prediction. But Coleman Domingo, for me, deserves this Best Actor trophy on Sunday night. He was just beautiful, and he was so heartfelt, and Sing Sing was such a phenomenal movie. I really enjoyed it. It's only like 90 minutes, but it really packs a punch, and Coleman Domingo was just so real. I had to remind myself, you're watching a movie, this is fake. That's how good he was. There are so many standout scenes. When Divine I just kind of joined the RTA program and Divine G was trying to show him the ropes. He's like, this is how we do things here. And Divine I didn't take well to that at all, and it kind of got like a little bit aggressive. That scene was standout. Obviously, his meltdown when he just kind of broke down after his clemency hearing, that was really powerful. The end of the movie when he gets released. I mean, there's not a single bad moment from Coleman Domingo and Sing Sing, and I think he deserves this Best Actor award. Now, my prediction, like I said, it's Timothy. I think that, honestly, Timothy did a great job portraying Bob Dylan, and I think part of the reason that I'm not leaning towards him for this, even though I love him as an actor, part of the reason I'm not leaning towards him is because I just didn't love the Bob Dylan movie. But he made me love Bob Dylan. He made me really think like, wow, he was a really cool dude. And the way he went about things and kind of just the level of nonchalance, the level of I'm just going to do me and I don't care what you guys think. I think he portrayed that very well. But wasn't my personal favorite performance of the year. Now we get to Best Director. And I am going to pull an Academy Best Actress and give this to Denis Villeneuve because Dune is my favorite film of the year, and he is the one who directed it. And I think he just does a masterful job in world building. There's not much more to say about Dune 2. He also has a fantastic filmography, and he's never won a Best Director award. And I think if there's any of his movies he deserves to win for, it's Dune 2. So I'm going to give it to Denis. I think Best Director is going to go to Sean Baker because, spoiler alert, I think Anora is going to win Best Picture. So it would only kind of be right. It wins Best Original Screenplay, it wins Best Director, and it wins Best Picture. But, yeah, I think it should be Denis. I feel like Dune 2 is a more impressive movie to me than Anora, but I digress. Let's just get to Best Picture. And at this point, you can probably tell my Best Picture nominee, my Best Picture winner is Dune 2. I mean, there's not much more to say. This is a jaw-dropping movie. This movie, I saw a tweet the other day and it said, can CGI put you in awe anymore? Yes, it can. Watch Dune 2. Yes, it can. Because when I tell you, I've seen this movie 3 times. Every time I see it, my jaw is on the floor. This is such an impressive movie. Timothée Chalamet plays the performance of a lifetime in Paul Atreides. I can't wait for Dune 3. However, Dune 2 wins my Best Picture, and it's not even a debate. My prediction, like I said, is Anora. The Academy is really loving, and the awards voters are really, really loving Anora. They're loving Sean Baker. I'm pretty sure he just won Best Director at the Santa Monica film. I don't know if he won it at the SAG, but all signs are pointing towards Anora for Best Picture. And it's a good movie. Is it one of those generational kind of what you would expect in an Oscar, like Oscar Best Picture, like you watch it and you're like, wow? No, I don't think it is. Maybe I need to rewatch it. But I do think Anora is going to take home the Best Picture Oscar on Sunday night. With that, we have hit 16 of the Oscar categories. The ones that I didn't cover are just the ones that I'm not too familiar with. So, yeah, I mean, what do you think if you've made it the entire way through the video? What do you think of my selections? What do you think is going to win and take home some Oscars? If you guys enjoyed this video, let me know. Let me know what you think of my picks, and I'll see you guys in the next video.